we were denied access to the SCIF, and so to my knowledge, what's going to happen now is not only do we have the support of the chairman, but they're going to get a nice letter from Congress. And as you heard, Representative Ogle said, if we're denied, we're going to use the Holman rule and we'll defund the position.
And then what about this talk for a full repository of all the data on it? Is that something you're going to support with legislation coming out?
Yeah. Yes.
Talk to us about that.
It's very multifaceted. We've got so many ideas now. Like I said, this is just the first of many, and I mean, the reason we got this is because we told them we would just do the field hearings, and we were going to do them in my front yard. My wife and daughter were going to grill out hamburgers and hot dogs, and y'all would all be invited, and we could ask everything, and we could bring everybody there. So they didn't want that, so they brought us back here. So, it's still an uphill battle, though. I mean, every step of the way has been.
Has this made you realize that we are not alone?
I knew it before. I didn't need this, but I'd seen enough. I've seen enough, and I would hope that you all would get that opportunity to see what we've seen.
I'm sure you guys have heard enough, too. I mean, you heard the testimony of some of the technology. Representative Ogle's asked some great questions, but when you have a senior military pilots and officials saying that there's technology that they don't believe is from us, from humans.
And also, you got to realize 3 United States congressmen were denied by our military. We're supposed to be telling them what to do, not the other way around. And so we're going to continue on that path.
You both have talked about the intelligence community also.
Andy wanted to say something.
Well, I just think it should be noted, I posed the question, does UAP technology potentially pose an existential threat to the national security of the United States of America? And all 3 of the witnesses answered yes. Congress has a responsibility now to move forward aggressively to get to the answers to these questions, even if it's in a secure environment.
Towards the end of the hearing, you all spoke about reverse engineering. I just want to hear, what do you think about the situation, as well as what are legislative approaches that you can take to ensure transparency?
Well, reverse engineering, of course, we're talking about something that we have no concept of. So it's like, I'm a motorcycle guy. So if I took a Harley Davidson or one of the new Indians and took it back to the people on the Mayflower, yeah, they could shine it. They wouldn't be able to fix the carburetor. They wouldn't be able to change the plugs. They might be able to figure out where the gas goes. They might get it started. But that's sort of where we're at with the reverse engineering. It's just so much ahead of us. But the question you have to ask, and it was alluded to in there, was that it's been handed off to people within the business community so that there is no FOIA, that you all in the press have no access. So, where does the line end and where does it begin between the government and big business? And I think it'd be wise for you all to start looking at some financial disclosures of some of those corporations, some of the people who do the stonewalling in this town.
I wanted to ask about that. The reverse engineering.
Wait, let's
go ahead, Dave. We'll get everybody. We're not going anywhere. I appreciate it.
My 2 questions.
You're going to cramp up.
One about Intel. You talked about the Intel communities blocking access.
Yeah.
Continue to see that. And my second question is about the corporations. You mentioned corporate interests. I'm wondering if you all are planning on naming names in that sense.
Well, that's why we want to get in the SCIF and get some of those names if these folks can stay healthy long enough. But again, I had a piece of legislation, very simple. It just said that when a commercial airline pilot reports a sighting or something unusual, an anomaly in the air, that when he reports that to FAA, they report it to Congress. And I was told by leadership that it was blocked by the intelligence community, not the intelligence committee, but the intelligence community. And that is a very chilling effect. If someone can reach through the veil of government and pierce it to the point of we do not have access to something, you got to start asking yourself who the hell's in control.
But you guys also should, too, be asking these questions of the intelligence community, because we can only do so much as members. That's where you guys really pick up the slack, right? So keep the pressure on.
What are your thoughts on the pilots? Only 5% of them are reporting right now.
Well, because...
And if you do report, then you're going to get in trouble.
Well, Matt Gates alluded to that, and we were there, and that's when the CIA folks got a little nervous when we were talking, and when we were told that apparently that they do destroy the evidence because they don't want to come back and be pulled off the flight line. Now they say they're debriefed, but it's 8 hours. They're interrogated. They're pulled off the flight line. These guys don't make a lot of money. They fly in a $50 million piece of machinery, yet they're treated like dogs. And then on the backside, they get a blemish on their record. So, it's this military intelligence. Like I said, military intelligence is like congressional ethics. It doesn't exist.
Are you concerned they're using the reverse Are you concerned they're using reverse engineering?
That is something that my office can answer. We'll get you the information, but we did request a SCIF briefing room for us, as well as Moskowitz, Representative Gates, as well as Representative Burchett and Burleson. Yes.
Yes.
That we will get you that information as well. Please reach out to my office.
Did you ask Speaker McCarthy's office?
I will be. I'll be talking to Speaker McCarthy. Actually, he's the one that gave the green light to this meeting. He's the one, because I went to Luna and I went to him. Man, you asked me about reverse engineering.
Do you think that there's something nefarious going on with reverse engineering? Do you have any reason to believe that?
I don't know about nefarious, but this is aircraft Americans. This country has apparently, according to witnesses, that they've retrieved, yet we don't have access to it, that someone else is profiting from it. I think you could get into some, if you have espionage from other countries and things like that, I'd rather we have that than China.
Well, that gets to a national security issue too. Is if there's technology that's being reverse engineered and it's being done by a third party, who ultimately owns and has control of that technology? So again, those are questions that Congress should be asking and that we get answers to.
To that point, David Grush did say in there that he gave information to the inspectors general about where these things are allegedly located. Do you have access to that?
Is a letter that's going to be penned that the members who are here today will likely sign on, as well as any other member, Democrat or Republican, to get that information and then disclose it to the American people.
Potentially visit those sites?
100%.
We'll see what they have, yeah.
Yeah, 100%.
Hey, what's next?
We're going to formulate some more ideas. We'll get some legislation out of this. But what I'd hoped, honestly, was I'm shocked, actually, at just the amount of information that came out, because all the roadblocks that we were put up against us. So I think what's going to happen now, the floodgates, other people are going to say, I've got some information, I'd like to come swear in. And that's what we're going to start doing. We're going to start talking to people. We're going to start naming names.
Are you aware of any foreign governments that are also engaged in potentially covering up any?
Yes. I've talked to folks overseas, or I haven't. Let me rephrase that. I've been on several podcasts that have discussed it, and I've read about it too. There's so many incidents. Everybody talks about Roswell, New Mexico, but there's an incident in Canada. There's an incident in England.
Brazil, right?
Brazil was another one. China, Chile. They're just on down the list. You just name the country. Yeah, it's there.
What's your thought of having the technology, but also possible aliens as well?
Well, if they came here, something had to fly it. But I want you to think about this. Think about this, that something with the capabilities of traveling light years, not showing a heat signature, the energy capabilities of that would put the Pentagon out of business. We wouldn't be fighting these worthless wars overseas over oil, and American boys and girls wouldn't be dying. It would put the war pigs out of business, and they'd have to go somewhere else, and I'm all for that. I'm all for that.
All right, guys.
Is that good?
Follow up with
Thank y'all. Please follow up, and thank y'all so much. Just keep it up. Keep it up. Transparency.